Stop what you are doing and look at the calendar. We are days away from the start of February, and while the national news is focused on tax season, there is a much bigger financial story unfolding on the state level. If you live in one of the 5 specific states I'm about to list, you could be seeing a deposit of up to $1,000 hitting your bank account as early as next week. This is not a rumor. This is not a proposal. These are approved, signed, and funded legislations that are actively distributing cash to residents right now. The headlines are calling them tax rebates, surplus distributions, or dividend checks. But for your bank account, it all looks the same. It looks like relief. In this urgent broadcast, I am going to walk you through the 5 states sending money in February 2026. We are going to cover the massive expansion in Pennsylvania that just unlocked $1,000 checks for thousands of new seniors. We are going to discuss the surprise checks in New Mexico and the monthly distribution in Alaska. And for everyone watching who does not live in these specific states, I am going to show you how to claim the federal hidden stimulus that opens up on Monday. There is a specific line on your 2026 tax return that is worth over $7,000 if you know where to look. The money is moving. The lists are finalized. Let's see if your name is on one of them. We have to start with the biggest update of the month, which comes from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. If you are a senior citizen, a widow or widower over age 50, or a person with disabilities over age 18, your financial picture for 2026 just changed dramatically. For decades, the property tax and rent rebate program was a small, helpful bonus, but it was hard to qualify for. The income limits were so low that if you had a decent Social Security check, you were disqualified. That ends this year. Governor Shapiro signed a massive expansion into law that is fully effective for the rebate season opening right now. First, the maximum standard rebate has increased from $650 to $1,000. That is a direct 45% raise in the cash amount. But the bigger news is the income limit. The cap has been raised to $45,000 a year for both homeowners and renters. And here is the secret sauce. They only count half of your Social Security income. So if you earn $50,000 a year, but $30,000 of that comes from Social Security, the state only counts $15,000. That puts your countable income at $35,000, which is well under the $45,000 limit. This means you qualify for the check. This expansion is expected to bring nearly 200,000 new people into the program this month. The application portal is open now. If you file online this week, these payments typically start flowing in huge batches. While the official payout date is often July 1st for the main wave, early filers and those with special hardship status can often see movement much sooner in the processing queue. Do not leave $1,000 on the table because you think you are too rich. The definition of rich has changed, and you are likely eligible. Now let's move west to New Mexico. This state has been the champion of rebates for the last 3 years. Because of the oil and gas surplus, the state legislature has consistently voted to send money back to the people. For February 2026, we are tracking the final waves of the relief payments for those who filed late or amended returns. If you filed your 2025 state taxes late, or if there was an issue with your address, your payment is likely in the February batch. The amounts here have varied, but eligible married couples have seen checks as high as $1,000 in previous rounds, with single filers seeing $500. The State Taxation and Revenue Department has also indicated that there is a claim it or lose it window approaching. If you never received your payment from the 2025 distribution, you must verify your status on the TAP portal immediately. February is often a cleanup month where the state reconciles its books and sends out the checks that bounced back or were held for verification. If you live in New Mexico and haven't seen your money, log in today. Next, we go to the far north, Alaska. The Permanent Fund Dividend, or PFD, is a staple of life in Alaska, but many people misunderstand the schedule. They think, oh, the check comes in October, and then they forget about it. That is a mistake. The state of Alaska runs monthly distributions for residents who were in eligible not paid status. Maybe you had a paperwork error. Maybe you needed to prove your residency. Once you fix that error, you don't have to wait until next October. You get paid in the next monthly run. The schedule for February is confirmed. If you resolved your status in January, your direct deposit is scheduled for roughly February 19th, with check mailing shortly after. The 2025 dividend was over $1,300. If you are owed this money, it is sitting in the state account waiting for you to clear the red tape. Furthermore, the application period for the new 2026 dividend is open right now. You have until March 31st to apply. Do not miss the deadline. In Alaska, missing the deadline is literally throwing away over $1,000 of free money. Let's talk about Massachusetts. This is a unique situation involving the Chapter 62F law. This is a taxpayer protection law that kicks in when the state collects too much tax revenue. They are legally required to give it back. While the massive wave of payments went out previously, there are thousands of lingering refunds for people who filed extensions or late returns. If you filed your Massachusetts state tax return late in the year, your 14% refund of your tax liability is processed in the order received. We are seeing reports of these checks arriving in mailboxes now. This is not a flat check. It is a percentage of what you paid. So, if you paid a significant amount in state taxes, your refund check could easily exceed $1,000. Check your Mass Tax Connect account to see if you have a surplus refund pending. Now for a state you might not expect. Minnesota. The One Minnesota budget included tax rebate checks that went out to millions of people. However, the Department of Revenue reported that thousands of these checks went uncashed. They expired. If you received a check last fall and lost it, or forgot to deposit it, or if it was sent to an old address, the state is reissuing these payments upon request. You have a limited window to claim a replacement check. For a married couple with dependents, this payment was up to $1,300. That is real money. If you moved recently, contact the Minnesota Department of Revenue this week. February is the time when they process these stale date replacements before the funds are potentially escated to the Unclaimed Property Division. But what if you don't live in Pennsylvania, New Mexico, Alaska, Massachusetts, or Minnesota? What if you are in Texas, Florida, California, or Ohio? Does this video apply to you? The answer is a resounding yes, because starting in February, the federal stimulus door swings open. We don't call it a stimulus check anymore because that word is politically charged. We call it the Earned Income Tax Credit, or EITC. But functionally, it is the exact same thing. It is a direct cash payment from the U.S. Treasury to your bank account, provided you file a piece of paper. And for February 2026, the amounts are staggering. Let's look at the hidden stimulus values for this month. If you are a low to moderate income worker and you have 3 children, the federal government has authorized a payment of up to $7,830. Even if you only paid $500 in taxes, they will send you the full $7,800. The difference is a refundable credit. This is the government redistributing wealth directly to you. If you have no children, but you are between the ages of 25 and 65, the payment is smaller, around $600, but that is still a stimulus check. It pays the utility bill. The reason I am including this in the February approved payments video is because the PATH Act hold lifts in mid-February. The IRS is legally blocked from sending these specific checks until February 15th. That means the massive wave of billions of dollars starts hitting accounts around February 17th to February 27th. This is the single largest injection of cash into the American economy all year. It is bigger than the state rebates. It is bigger than the PFD. And it is available to you regardless of which state you live in. However, there is a catch to this February money. You have to actively claim it. The state rebates in places like New Mexico were often automatic. The federal EITC is not automatic. You must file a Form 1040. I see millions of people on Social Security who don't file taxes because their income is tax-exempt. I understand that. But if you worked a part-time job, even if you only earned $5,000 greeter at a store, you might qualify for a few $100s of this credit. If you don't file, the IRS keeps the money. There is a 3-year statute of limitations. After 3 years, the money is gone forever. If you didn't file for 2023 or 2024 and you worked, You can still file a late return right now and get those back stimulus checks. We are talking about potentially thousands of dollars in unclaimed refunds sitting at the Treasury with your name on them. I also need to address the property tax shock that is generating local rebates in states like Texas and New Jersey. In New Jersey, the Anchor program has been a massive success, sending up to $1,750 to homeowners and renters. While the main filing deadline has passed, the benefit confirmation letters for the next round often go out in the spring. However, if you missed the recent payment due to a medical issue or hospitalization, New Jersey has an appeal process where you can still get your money in February. In Texas, while there is no state income tax, the homestead exemption increase was approved by voters. This isn't a check in the mail, but it is a check in the sense that your escrow account should have a surplus. If your mortgage company collected taxes based on the old, higher rate and the new, lower rate kicked in, your mortgage servicer is sitting on your money. They are required to run an annual escrow analysis. When they do this, usually in February, they will see the surplus. You will then receive a check for the overage. I have seen homeowners get refund checks of $800 or $900 from their mortgage company purely because of this tax law change. Watch your mail for an escrow analysis statement this month. Now let's talk about the danger of fake rebates. Because there is real money moving in February, the scammers are flooding your phones. You might get a text message saying, "User name, your PA state rebate of $1,000 is pending. Click here to confirm." Do not click it. The state of Pennsylvania does not text you to confirm a rebate. They mail you a check or they direct deposit it if you gave them your info on the official website. These text messages are designed to steal your login credentials. Another common scam right now is the federal subsidy phone call. A robot calls you and says, "You have been approved for a $6,400 spending card." This is fake. There is no spending card. They are trying to get your Medicare number to bill fake claims. The only legitimate money comes from the official State Department of Revenue or the IRS. If someone contacts you first, it is a scam. You initiate the contact. You go to the .gov website. So, how do you verify your eligibility for these February payments? Here is your checklist. First, if you live in Pennsylvania, go to the MyPath website immediately and check the property tax/rent rebate status. The expansion is real, and the money is there. Second, if you are in Alaska, check MyAlaska for your PFD status. Third, if you are in New Mexico, check the TAP portal. Fourth, look at your mortgage statement. If you are in a state with recent property tax relief, call your servicer and ask when your escrow analysis is scheduled. Ask them if you have a surplus. Fifth, and most importantly, get your tax documents ready for the IRS opening on Monday. If you qualify for the EITC, file electronically and choose direct deposit. That is the only way to ensure your federal stimulus arrives in the late February window. For the millions of you struggling with inflation, these programs are not charity. They are your tax dollars coming back to you. The politicians love to announce these programs during election years or budget surplus years, but they rely on you being too busy or too confused to actually claim the cash. Do not let them keep it. The $1,000 expansion in Pennsylvania alone is enough to cover groceries for 2 months. The $7,800 EITC is enough to buy a used car or pay off high-interest credit card debt. This is life-changing money for many people, but it requires action. We will be tracking the processing speeds of these states all month. Historically, Pennsylvania says July, but we often see early birds get paid much sooner. We will let you know the moment the first viewer reports a deposit. Put your state in the comments below so we know which other rebate programs to investigate for the next video. We are looking into potential surpluses in Georgia and South Carolina right now, but we need to confirm the legislation before we report it. Stick with the confirmed lists. Stick with the official portals. And get your application in. The money is approved. Now go get it.